Let's learn something really quick.
If you got the time, absolutely. And you got the discipline, there's no question about it.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great practice to put into your everyday life, you guys.
You generally regret the things you don't do, not the things you didn't do. Let me say it that way.
Mic drop. This was just awesome. I love meeting my guests in person, and it's a whole nother animal, and the energy is just electric. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free. To live your best life, live label free. And we're back with our resident relationship wizard. As you all know, he's a renowned licensed marriage family counselor and relationship and life coach for over 25 years with dual practices. Please welcome back Fred Talisman. Fred, welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you, Deanna. Really happy to be here.
I'm very happy to have you here. So let's just remind the audience, since this is going to be an ongoing series and we can't wait to hear your feedback, any suggestions or anything you want to know. And we'll even have you jump on the show with us if we can plan that to work into all of our schedules. But last episode, we really talked about and unpacked and broke down the common denominator that happens in the breakdown of a marriage/relationship. And we got into talking about how it's so important to break that negative emotional thing that's happening in between a couple, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we really got into how you have taught your clients how to just diffuse the situation.
Yes. Before it happens.
Yeah. Before it happens. That's the key, right? Before it happens. Cause yes. I think that we got to get caught up in wanting to be right. Right. I want to be right. I want to be heard. Oh, and it's not a tug of war in a relationship. And I think that's where people get confused.
It's not a tug of war and you're not adversaries.
Right. You're supposed to be on the same team.
Yeah.
What do you think when I say that if someone is not feeling fulfilled in their life, that can end up harming the relationship? And that's where maybe they want to feel heard. They want to feel right because they are lacking something internally that they need to work on.
Yes, it's really important to stay conscious about who owns the problem.
Yeah.
To ask yourself, is this my problem? Is this their problem? Or is this a relationship problem?
Yeah. Yeah. And we talked about, diffusing the negative emotional thing that happens when people almost start fighting. And then we also talked about using that honesty. So here's an example of where a partner can use that. They're saying, well, this is not about me. This is about you. That could be a trigger for someone.
Sure. If we go back to what we talked about last time about positive alternative communication.
Yeah.
It's before you speak to know the positive changes you want and to ask for those without blaming the other person.
Yeah.
Wrong or negatively labeling them.
Okay, so let's explore that a little bit. And so in my mind, what I'm hearing you say is, instead of leading with the problem, say, you know what, babe, I love this about you. You're so great. You take care of the house. You take care of me. You provide. But what I would really like to see is perhaps not internalizing or thinking that there's an issue in our relationship when really there might be something else that we need to talk about.
Okay, I have to tell you what that brings up.
Okay, yeah, but this is my ideas. When you say
yeah.
This is an example for the audience if they're having issues, and everybody has issues in relationships. This is this is the tip of the iceberg. We're just talking about examples.
Yeah. So going with that, because that's a great question.
Yeah.
Is that when I was 5 years old, at a defining moment in my relationship with my parents, defined our whole relationship, the rest of me growing up. I was playing catch with my buddies outside. I threw the ball and broke the neighbor's window. It was really uncoordinated.
Yikes.
And I went and told my parents and how they responded to find our relationship.
Okay.
They said, thank you for telling us that. You know that it was really hard to do that. We're not mad at you. You know you didn't do it on purpose. We're not going to punish you. We're going to walk over with you right now. And you and we are going to apologize to the neighbor, and we're going to tell them we're going to pay for repairing their window.
Yeah.
And all we ask is that from now on you play catch, not facing anybody's window, including ours.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. I don't think a lot of parents would be like that, though. I know
Yeah.
my parents.
And that told me from that point on, it was safe to tell them the truth.
Right. That's what I hear when you tell that story, is that that's safe. And so in the example that I just said, how would someone, if you, so are you saying that my example of approaching my partner, or for anyone approaching their partner, putting out the positives instead of like blaming them for the negatives, you think that is better? Or how would they apply what you just shared than compared to what I said?
That's better. But I think most people at times lie in their relationship
Oh,
because
absolutely.
their partner hasn't made them feel safe to tell the truth.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, well, maybe that should be the topic of today's show then. How do we create an environment or create safe spaces in our relationships, no matter what the circumstance?
Okay, so there's different ways to do that.
Okay.
One of them we've talked about a bit, which is to never communicate when you're in negative emotion.
Right. Yeah.
Because one of the consequences of talking when you're in negative emotion is that person's going to be afraid that you're going to come at them if they tell you things.
Yeah.
So they're not going to tell you. That's one part. The next part is to not negatively label your partner. Because when people think that they're going to be negatively labeled, they're withdrawn.
I've had relationships. So in my first marriage, like, he judged everyone. I did not feel safe to tell him anything. And it was just because of the way he reacted about, everything, talked about everyone. And so for me, I never felt like I could fully tell him anything about my past, really, or like how I truly felt. And, we had a decent relationship. I mean, he was pretty controlling. Like, my whole world was him. And I did not feel safe in that relationship.
Sure. So there would be no reason to open up.
Yeah.
Who wants to open up when you don't feel safe? Nobody does.
No, for sure. Yeah. Like, that's not a good place to be. So if someone is dealing with a partner, okay, so you have clients that come to you and they're going to save their relationship by themselves without their other partner coming in. And what if they tell you, so I don't know how to open up to my partner because I'm scared. I'm scared to share. I'm scared to tell the truth. I'm scared to start a dialogue. How does that person create a safe space then if they don't feel safe?
Well, a couple of ways. One way is to give what they want to receive.
Okay.
Yes. Make sure that they're not retaliating against their partner. They're not making them pay.
Ooh, what does that mean? Hold on, because there's a bunch of ways you can retaliate.
Yes. So most people think that a relationship is a deal. It's a 50-50 proposition. I'll treat you right if you treat me right. I'll make you pay if you make me pay. It's a way of thinking doomed to fail. Relationship is 100%.
Yeah.
Yet part of what makes a relationship work is your integrity with yourself of how you want to be as a partner.
Yeah.
It's not tied to what the other person says or does. That does not mean you don't address the things that don't work for you, but you don't tie them together.
Right. So do you think that if I, like, let's say, and this is just an example, I don't have this right now in my life. So if I'm not feeling safe, do you think it's okay to say, if they get to a point where they feel strong enough to say, hey, babe, I'm not feeling safe in this relationship, so I can come to you and tell you fully the truth of X, Y, Z?
That's important to be able to do that. But the groundwork you want to lay, because you don't want to just say it and then have them treat you badly.
Well, right. Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
But that's often what happens. Even when you've had the courage to say that, it's the more that you're giving what you want to receive, the more likely that your partner's going to be willing to reciprocate.
So what would be an example of them giving what they want to receive in that situation?
Responding to their partner with kindness and being positive and supportive.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to agree with things you don't agree with.
Can you give an example, obviously no names, of perhaps a client that it's specifically this situation where they didn't feel comfortable or safe communicating, whatever it was they're communicating, what did the tools that you gave them, how do they apply them? And then what was the end result for them? Maybe not right away, but over time.
Okay. You have somebody in mind.
Okay.
She told her partner that I know that you really love me and I really love you. And I want to tell you my experience.
Okay.
Because you probably don't know
Yeah.
that when you're done with work for the day, you're really grumpy toward me, and you're really short with me.
Yeah.
And my reaction is just to clam up and withdraw and avoid you.
Yeah.
And I know you'd have no way of knowing that unless I told you that.
Yeah, for sure. And so what happened then in her relationship?
Well, first he got defensive.
Yeah.
And then he thought about it and realized what she said was 100% true. And then he changed his ways.
That's awesome. So it's never too late.
Never too late.
Yeah. So I'm going to share something. So my husband is a police officer, right? Everybody knows this. If you've been following or you're just tuning in or you're watching this, whatever. And like, I don't think he realizes sometimes like he comes home like and he just like is very quick to respond, like just on edge, and I realize that I think that this is a side effect of what he does for a living because they don't get treated very well. They're out there on the street protecting and serving. And he will react sometimes very strongly to something very minimal. And I will be like, what are you doing? Because listen, number one, I don't feel comfortable. Like, you need to calm down. And I'll say it in a way that to try to hopefully diffuse it. He's like, well, I'm not mad at you. I'm like, I understand you're not mad at me, but that energy is very like alarming that you get you can fly off the handle so quickly. Like, let's take some breaths. Let's just let's calm it down, babe. Let's calm it down. We don't need to get so angry. Like, aren't you just happy to be with me? So, I mean, like that was a great example because that makes me think of some of the things that I deal with in my relationship. And like, that's something that makes me uncomfortable. Like, I don't like that. I know everything can't be sunshine and flowers all the time, but to have such a strong reaction and be so angry when someone comes home that definitely puts my walls up. So that was a great example.
Great.
Yeah.
So what's really important is that we have really clear transitions.
Yeah. Okay. What is that?
Really good rituals, like, for example, when you're done with work for the day, to have a way to let go of it. So bringing whatever's unresolved for you in work, especially emotionally, into your home life.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice for everyone. And what would be I know some things that I do just to kind of unwind and stuff like that, but what would be some good tips or tricks for people that are watching that they could apply to their routine to help them unwind?
One of the best ways to unwind and let go,
yes,
is to do what's called train of thought writing.
Oh, what's that?
This is not journaling. It's only journaling. Journaling can be wonderful, but it tends to reinforce negative emotion. So when you do this, you start off with 2 sentences. It's for your eyes only.
Okay.
So your partner, there's no consequences to your relationship because nobody's going to see it but you. Journally can say it or not.
So what would be example? Just like whatever is whatever their thought is, like just write it down.
Okay. So you start off with 2 sentences.
Okay. What is it?
Sentence is, beyond how I'm feeling right now, how do I want to feel instead?
Oh, I like that. It's like
just asking that question shifts your thinking, shifts your focus.
Yeah, it's like reprogramming your thought process.
Right. And then after you answer that question, write down the following really long sentence. It says, I'm writing my thoughts and feelings with the intention of releasing them and with the goal of freeing myself up to having positive thoughts, feelings, words, and actions.
Okay.
And then you write whatever you're thinking you're feeling, no censorship, and again, never to share.
Yeah.
The reason this works and how this works has to do with how our minds work.
Okay.
An upset thought or feeling in our mind, go over the same thing in our mind literally hundreds of times. When you do that, it keeps feeling bigger. Tell your partner what you're feeling or thinking when you're in negative emotion, and whether or not it makes you feel better, it's guaranteed to make things worse for them in between you. But if you go to write those thoughts or feelings, although you can think them hundreds of times, it's incredibly boring to write the same thing more than once. Giant shortcut. In addition, we know that the research, the mind responds very strongly to intention. The opening sentences are about intention. They're saying, mind, as I write this, help me let go of it, then get back to being in a positive state. And your mind will assist you in doing that. It's a great ritual to do to let go of your workday, be present home. It's a great thing to do when you begin to go into negative emotion.
Yeah, I like that. I think that is a great practice to apply, especially if you feel that you come home, 9 times out of 10, like, and you're still wound up from the day and don't know how to like kind of let some of that go, because everything is energy, right? We carry a lot of energy with us. People we can come in contact to, if they have they're having a bad day, you can pick up that bad energy. And so I think like if you don't know how to release it, like, go to the gym, meditate, have some form of way to processing that energy and bringing yourself back to a good place. That is a great way to like let it go.
Right.
Let's tell them that again one more time. So you guys, you watching this, grab your pen and paper. Okay. Now Fred is going to tell you the 2 things to write down. If you have a bad day, you come home, you don't want to take it out on your partner. Do not want to take it out on your partner. You want to establish and have a healthy relationship. The first sentence that they should write is,
beyond how I'm feeling right now, how do I want to feel instead?
fill in the blank.
Right.
And the second one is,
I'm writing my thoughts and feelings with the intention of releasing them and with the goal of freeing myself up to having positive thoughts, feelings, words, and actions.
yeah, beautiful. It's almost like you're manifesting that good stuff to happen.
It is, yes.
I'm big into like manifestation. I do believe that it works, and the more that you practice it, the more that you manifest. And, I talk about this often with other guests on the show, that you can manifest bad things too. Thoughts like are very powerful. And so if you are not training your mind or your thoughts or your feelings to be a certain way, that negative stuff, control it or have a good process to release it, you can manifest a lot of that bad stuff to happen.
Absolutely. Can I say a little bit more?
Yeah, of course.
Good. Okay. So most of us, when we're in negative emotion, if we don't dump it on our partner, then we do a distraction.
Okay.
Like going running, going to the gym, going to social media, playing computer games, and distractions don't work. They work temporarily.
Yeah.
But they don't get rid of the negative emotion. When you're done with the distraction, negative emotion tends to reemerge.
Yeah.
Train of thought writing actually releases the negative emotion.
Yeah. I like that, because a lot of people, I think, do that. They do distract themselves with, well, especially social media, and I think sometimes that can make things worse, right?
Yes.
Games too. They get involved in games, and sometimes I think that can make it worse too. What is the single most important thing that everyone in a relationship needs to make it really work?
Well, 2 things.
Okay.
Talked about before,
Mm-hmm.
which is to only communicate when you're in positive emotion,
Yes.
and to always catch your partner doing things right. I'll make it 3 things.
3 things? Okay.
and choice points.
Choice points.
To always communicate the way you make your partner feel consistently loved and appreciated and emotionally supported.
So choice points are those things that you just mentioned.
Yeah, choice points is, so to reiterate that, because we covered that quickly in another episode, is that in any given moment, there's a number of honest things you can say.
Yeah.
You say to your partner, I love you, I hate you, I felt close to you, I felt distant from you.
Yeah.
All these conflicting honest things.
Right.
Of all the honest things to say, there's only one thing to say, and how to say it supports your goal with your partner in that moment.
Okay.
So choice points is knowing in advance how you want to make them positively feel. Make sure what you say and how you say it supports that goal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So choice points. I like that. That's a term I've never heard before.
Yeah.
And I think that, as we're here, like on our mission together, Fred, to help save relationships, because we're both here to like shed light on the awesome that you are and how you help. We're going to probably sound like a broken record sometimes talking about some of this stuff, but it's important for people to understand that there are a lot of the same patterns and behaviors that happen in the breakdown of every relationship, right? And when you can start applying some of these things that you share with people, things, tools and resources that you have given your clients over the years to help mend, repair, fix, revitalize, all these great things in relationships, they have been proven for you.
And I want to talk about tomatoes.
Tomatoes. I love tomatoes, but okay, talk about tomatoes with the lycopene and all that good stuff.
Okay, so, but not really in that way. So I'm by nature a bottom line, blunt, direct, in front of sarcastic person. That's how I evolved when I was raised, and that's my first go-to. My goal is that never comes out of my mouth.
Okay.
Because being that way, speaking that way, would violate my choice point toward my wife.
Yeah.
So when there's things that bother me, when I'm triggered, then the first thing I do is I take my break.
Okay.
Do my train of thought writing, and I think through what's the kindest way I can address this.
Okay.
I brought up tomatoes because one time we have different diets. Tomatoes are on my diet. She always asks me before she goes food shopping, what do you want me to get? And so she'd gone food shopping and I went to get my tomatoes and she'd forgotten them.
Uh-oh.
So I got triggered, as dumb as that is. I knew it was a negative emotion. So I took my break, did my train of thought writing, and I thought through what's the kindest way that I could address that with her. Because I was thinking all these negative things, ridiculous.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm you. So the kindest thing I could think of was I said, sweetie, I couldn't find where in the refrigerator that you left the tomatoes. And she said, oh my goodness, I know you told me to get them. I forgot. I can run out right now, get them for you. I said, you don't need to do that. Got enough left for 3 days. Anytime for 3 days is convenient for you, that would be great.
Yeah.
That's radically different than what I was thinking, what I said.
Sure. But I'm sure over time for you personally, has it gotten easier to express yourself that way? Or do you still get like the negative, like the man talking shit to you in your head?
I don't get as triggered as I used to, but I still get triggered.
Well, yeah, we all do. I still get triggered. I just had to take some deep breaths, like, okay, like I don't want to start a fight. I just want to like, let's just handle this the right way. Because as I've gotten older too, like you hopefully you guys, as you're getting a little bit older and wiser, you're learning how to express yourself a little bit better and not fly off the handle because, that's never a good thing. All right, Fred, it's time to wrap things up. It's so great having you here on the show again and offering all this value advice that you have for our audience. Can you please tell them where they can find you, connect with you, and learn about the free gifts that you have for them?
Great. Well, you can reach me directly by emailing me at fred@relationshipmagic.com. And if you want to get like direct, immediate help, go to bookwithfredT.com and that will give you access to a free breakthrough call with me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You guys, I'm going to put that information in the show description. So if you are watching here today or listening, don't forget to go into the show notes and click those links and schedule a call with Fred. Or if anything, go and check out his free gift he has in store for you. Fred, as always, it's been so great to have you on the show, offering your words of wisdom for our audience and how they can have a better relationship. We appreciate you, and we'll see you again every other Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.